Hello, good morning. My name is Davis Bamigboye. Today, I want to talk about choosing life. It is your God-given right and prerogative to choose life. Do you know that? In the book of Exodus, I believe, uh, Moses said to the children of Israel, I set before you today life and death. Choose life so that you and your children may live. But how do we choose life? How do we make choices as human beings in life? Well, your choice for anything at all comes only after you have had careful thought process. You have analyzed them and you make decisions. But do you know that some choices that you make seemingly out of spontaneity, but there's no such thing as spontaneous choice because before you make a choice, you will have thought about them. And when you've thought about them and you've analyzed the merits or demerits, you make your choice. Let me give you an example. Suppose you go into a store and you want to buy a jacket, and the jacket costs, let's say, $1,000. Now you have before you now a choice to make. What are the thoughts that will go through your mind? You check whether you have enough money in your bank account or on your card. You check whether you have other responsibilities down the month that you have to pay attention to. You make certain thought process, go through different things and that, and you come to a conclusion whether it is good for you or not. So you see, even though this example of buying a jacket in a store that costs $1,000 might require you to think through a whole lot of permutations and stuff, but do you know that actually in the research of the matter, that even for every single decision that you've made in your life, you'll have gone through this exercise. It may be in a nanosecond, it may be over a minute or an hour, but you will go through a process of analyzing where your thoughts will be involved. And that's why I want to talk to you again today about choosing life as your prerogative. But where do we start from if you want to choose life? We have to start from what we think about and the choices we make around our thought process. Now, do you know that you and me, we are the only people, species on planet Earth that are able to step out of ourselves and view our life backwards and check the things that we've done before. Basically, you have the ability to step out of yourself and look back as if you're looking at your life like a mirror or like a movie, which means you can actually take a step out of yourself and look back and say, what I did there is wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And you're able to check the thought processes that go through your mind or that went through your mind that before you made that choice. And therefore, you're able to identify areas where you could have done better. And because you have this God given ability, you can choose life daily. Let me give you an example. A couple of days ago, I was had a small issue with one of my colleagues at work, and obviously we are meant to go for dinner with some friends, and one of the guys flew late into the country, and I got the timing wrong. I mean, not my fault; it was a fault of the agency. They gave me the ticket, didn't have the flying in time, the flight time that the person is going to get into the city. Anyway, because I got that timing wrong, and we already agreed a number of days before, I actually forgot to send a reminder to say, look, guys, I just got a notice that this flight was going to come later. Apologies, we're not going to be able to meet tonight again because it was going to be too late to have dinner. And so by the time finally got around to it, was when the guy actually landed around 9 o'clock. So I sent an email to my colleagues to say, look, apologies, I've rearranged this dinner for tomorrow morning as breakfast catch up. And then this lady sent me an email, long email, was so upset, was saying all sort of stuff in the email. And obviously, the email, I was already getting angry. Now, I told myself when I woke up in the morning that I wasn't going to get angry. I was going to control my emotion. So and I just had myself together. Lo and behold, I walk into the breakfast room, and the whole place was filled with a lot of anger because you can sense the anger in the air. It's like a thick anger. And she just began to speak. And she was speaking and speaking, and I was trying to calm her that she was just speaking. So I got really upset. But because I was the leader, I had to find a way to manage the situation and got things okay. But throughout the day, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about what level of effrontery. I was so upset. I was just thinking about it. Now, in the night, the Holy Spirit told me and said, son, this is going to be a stronghold in your heart. Just choose the wrong thought. Choose another thought and forget about it. Don't worry about it. And at that point in time, I realized I was giving power to that thought. I was given power to the thought of anger to control me. And I realized I have self-control. You know what I did? I literally stopped and shifted my thought right there and there. Shifted my thought to another thing. Now, as I shifted my thought to another thing, the power that this anger had on me began to ebb away, began to reduce. And as I began to think about other things, think about things I want to do, anytime the thought that wants me to revisit what happened in the morning tries to come back, I just choose another thought. And the more I choose another thought, the better I felt, the better I became. Now, at the end of the day, at the end of that night, I was able to overcome the thought process, the anger that was bothering me. And I literally forgave the person, and I forgave myself too. Now, this is an example of how you can choose thoughts. Because you see, when you do not choose your thoughts, you are not choosing life. You're not choosing the right kind of thought. You're not choosing life. When you allow anger or what people do to you to control your life, you have become a slave to them. But when you choose how you respond to what people do to you by going back into your heart and looking at the right thing that will make you feel better, then you are choosing life. Now, remember, you can choose life. I can choose life. If I allow myself to be angry and despondent and become depressed because of things that are external coming to me, then I am not being wise. God says I can choose life. Now, how do I do this? Let me give you an exercise that you might do. You see, I want you to spend some time tonight to think about what you think about. Become aware of your environment. Become aware of what is going on around in your body. So as you become aware of your environment, let's say, for example, you sit in a chair, and you put some maybe nice music, and you just regulate your breathing until your breathing is calm. Imagine the breathing going through your body. Just be conscious of your body, of what goes into your body, the way your body feels. Now, as you're conscious of that, just stay still. I guarantee you, thoughts will start to flow to you. Now, those thoughts, they float to us like reams of films. A thought will float, another will float. Now, here's the thing: as the thoughts are flowing to you, when the first one comes, you might pay attention and begin to think about what is it saying. Now, the more you go deep into that thought, the deeper you go, and it seems like it keeps opening up in rivulets of rivers, one left, one right, all over the place. And that is when you need to learn to begin to control the thought. So as the thought flow to you, now you need to look at Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 that says, whatever things that is lovely, that is of good report, if there's any virtue, think on these things. Now, when the thought is floating to you, ask yourself the question, does it fulfill the Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 remit? If it does not, right there, then you just throw it away across the fence. And you can do that. You can say, no, I'm not going to think about that. No, I'm not going to think about that. Now, the more you make choices like that, then there cannot be a vacuum in your mind. You have to therefore replace that thought with another thought that is good, that is lovely, that is of good report, that will make you feel good. This is how you cultivate the power of positive thinking that can then help you to live a godly life. Now, the first time you begin to do this exercise, you might feel frustrated, you might feel like nothing is working. But I guarantee you, this is the only way to live a life that will help you. Recently, I was reading a book by Dr. Caroline Leaf about switching on your brain. And he says, when we think about good thoughts, it grows trees, green, luxurious trees in our brain. Basically, our brain grows cells that are luxurious, that are productive. It's like a forest with good things. But when we begin to think negative thoughts, it almost seems like our brains begin to wither, begin to dry up. All right. Now imagine that the power that God gave us, we can choose thoughts that grow our brain, that make us live prosperous life, that make us live a healthy life. But we can also grow thoughts that can take us in the wrong direction. So today, as you go, I'm begging you in the name of God that you should choose life. Carry out this exercise I've just shared with you on how you can choose your thoughts, and you realize that nothing can ever dominate you because you're a child of God. All right, that's it. I'm signing out. I'll speak to you another time. Remember, God sets before you, even today, life and death. Which one are you going to choose? You have the right to choose because you are created in the image and likeness of God. You are not a victim of circumstances. You're not a victim of your thought process. You can choose life. You can make a choice. Remember, the more you think about what has happened in the past and what people have done to you, the more you become a slave to that thought. But you can choose a new direction. Focus your attention on where you are going, and all things will work for you. God bless.